Only Bitcoin is decentralized. Nothing else is. Fiat money is not, gold is not, and the altcoin, certainly no altcoin is decentralized. Only Bitcoin is truly decentralized. And so people used to say, China's overly mining, too much mining in Bitcoin, it's too centralized. Okay, well, now that's no longer true anymore. It's being dispersed, it's being decentralized. Exactly as the game theory baked into the Bitcoin protocol would tell you would happen, has happened. As I said would happen 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I said that decentralization was always going to hew toward more decentralization. So China's out of the picture. Their own central bank digital currency is just more centralized garbage. It doesn't compete with Bitcoin. It's just another version of their own fiat money that they're just doing digitally. It doesn't compete with Bitcoin. They will be plowing back into Bitcoin at $500,000 to $600,000 a coin. China made a strategic error right now, geopolitically, but it's great for El Salvador. It's great for Guatemala. It's great for Paraguay. It's great for Mexico, because they're going to inherit this monetary network at a great price. So remember, there's been compounding at 200% a year for 10 years. I still have a $220,000 target for Bitcoin in 2021.
Well, I want to know, you have this big, bold forecast of 220,000.
Yeah.
You were hoping for November. Have you since adjusted?
No, I saw the same thing in 2013 and again in another period where you had a 5, 6, 7x move in a compressed amount of time. So I still have that target. The fundamentals that apply to Bitcoin are only getting stronger, and people are, I think, not pricing in this news about sovereign states making Bitcoin legal tender. I mean, this is the first, Bitcoin separates state from money. In the case of El Salvador, it'll be running parallel with the dollar, but the individuals have the right to take control of their own private keys. It's outside of the state's control. Same thing everywhere. And the government makes a good point. They're saying, why should we be in the business of the central bank business? We can outsource that to Bitcoin, and we can use geothermal, which is free and ecologically sound. And we can do other stuff with our time as a government. Government shouldn't be wasting their time trying to monkey around with monetary policy. It's a complete waste of government's time. Just outsource your monetary policy to Bitcoin and work on something else. Build roads, take out trash, do something that governments are good at. Don't focus on monetary policy. Governments are horrible at monetary policy. At this point, there's no difference between the United States and the Soviet Union in terms of monetary policy right now. You have a Politburo of decision makers making horrible decisions based on price signals that are concocted out of horrible feedback, out of horrible price signals, and they're both going to go the exact same way, into the trash bin of history, because they have no monetary policy, because they're run by kleptocrats and geriatric senile old idiots, and they're just going to die on the vine. And these countries run by young, enterprising entrepreneurs like El Salvador and others are going to be like, we'll take it. We'll run the world. Thank you very much. And Bitcoin is our standard. After the Monroe Doctrine and the U.S. turning the southern states, the Latin America and Central America, into a slave labor market and cheap commodities using the dollar. Read John Perkins' book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Washington, D.C., the CIA would send guys down there and load them up with debt, and if you don't pay the debt, we'll throw you out of an airplane. That's been America's foreign policy in the region for decades. Now these countries are saying, hey, you know what? I think we'll opt out. Thank you very much, but we don't need you, because now we have Bitcoin, as I predicted and a few others predicted. The whole question was never, when will governments ban Bitcoin? The whole question is, which governments will start to adopt Bitcoin, and you get into this hash war. You get into competitive government acquisition mode. Like, we need as much Bitcoin as possible. You see, the New York, they're having a mayoral race right now. The guy who's leading the race said, oh, to heck with Miami, because Miami has declared itself the Bitcoin capital of America under its mayor, is saying, we're going to be the Bitcoin capital of America. New York City is going to be the Bitcoin capital of America, according to the mayoral candidate. He just came out with that this week, right? So that's what I've been saying is going to happen. There's going to be competition to get the most Bitcoin, mine Bitcoin, and get the most Bitcoin businesses. That's what we're going to see happening. It's called game theory. It's baked into the protocol since day one, and now it's playing out on the sovereign level, as we predicted for many years. So there's not going to be any banning of Bitcoin. There's going to be those countries that are smart enough to get in now and reap the benefits, and then those countries that'll wait and be, suffering.
It will be really interesting to see who will be added next to the list.
Well, so clearly in the region, as I said, Paraguay just came out today and said we're joining.
Right.
My understanding is that Guatemala is ready to go. So it's when you.
But I mean, like a European country. If someone like a country in Europe were to come out and say it, that would be huge.
Right. What they can't afford not to. That's the way game theory works. If these countries start to develop sound currency and sound currency policies, and El Salvador's GDP is going to triple, property prices are up, people are moving there, and this has all happened very quickly. So if you have a country and your GDP is suffering and your fiat money is deteriorating, you're going to be tempted into the Bitcoin standard to take advantage of that. Which country in Europe? I thought that Iran would be a candidate to go Bitcoin. They already have like 4.5% of the hash rate right now, from what I understand. Obviously, Russia, they totally got out of dollars. They dumped their last dollars out of their reserves. They have no more dollars. So they are free to do something smart, like do what Paraguay, what El Salvador just did, go to a Bitcoin standard. India is also possibly, they go vacillating back and forth. So India, Russia are two prime candidates. And in Europe, because of the dominance of the ECB, and when I talked to you in January, I said the ECB was the most corrupt central bank in the world. Christine Lagarde is an absolute disaster. And I predicted that would be the first major central bank to go under. And I still think that that's true. The European Central Bank is going to go under, and then these countries are going to be fending for themselves, and then you'll have them when they get split off. Some of them will break off and say, hey, we're going to go to a Bitcoin standard. But right now, they're still under the influence of the European Central Bank, which is an atrocious, absolutely ungodly institution that's causing untold harm and damage all over the EU under Christine Lagarde. And so that's the problem that they have right now.
Good stuff, Max. I think just hearing you talk before about the price will bring a lot of sense of calm to people panicking about the price. But it's a good reminder that this is what Bitcoin does. It's just a question of how long. I've had experts coming on saying this is going to be, winter has come for Bitcoin, and this could take months, maybe years to shake off.
It's not going to take years. Look, I mean, Warren Buffett famously says over and over again, that he loves down markets. He's done his research. He knows what the values are, and he loves it when markets are down. He loves it when markets crash because he can buy what he wants on sale.
So,
it's very strange in the investment business. Peter Lynch talks about this in his books, and as many that typically people who buy stocks, they don't seem to understand that if the price is cheaper, you're getting good value for something. But they understand it if they went to their local grocery store or their hardware store and they saw hammers on sale, 50% off. They'd be like, wow, I got the same hammer for 50% off. I'm buying it. Well, here you got Bitcoin, which is on sale right now. It's the greatest monetary network in the world. The adoption of Bitcoin right now at 150 million users or so is about where the internet was in 1997. Now, I was on doingit.com in the 90s, and 1997 is right when Netscape went public, and you had the whole explosion of the internet as we know it today. It hinged really on that key year, 1997. So I think in 2021, it's similar to 1997 for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin will be this is the year where it suddenly goes that hockey stick move, and you go from 150 million users to 2 or 3 billion users in a pretty compressed amount of time. In El Salvador, the number one finance app is Lightning Strike from Zap, from Jack Mahler's company, and it's the number one app in the entire country. He's signing on 20,000 users a day in El Salvador to be on Lightning Network, which is Bitcoin essentially. That means that within a year, the entire country will be on Bitcoin within a year. And then that's spreading to Guatemala, and it's spreading to Paraguay. It's spreading all over the region to 100 million people into Mexico, right? So so why would you not want to own that? If you had a chance to buy the internet in 1997, when only 150 million people were using it, and somebody said, hey, for $35,000, an option here, a share, you can own a piece of what will become the dominant communications network of the globe. Would you pass up on that deal? No. Same thing with Bitcoin. Why would you not own it at this price? Because the $500,000, $600,000 price is baked into the cake at this point. There's virtually no bear case. No matter what Frank Juster says, there is no bear case. I listened to the debate. None of those points made up, but he's not the only one. No, none of the bears, none of those points that have held up. They're just recycling the same old FUD. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt over and over and over again. They can't even come up with anything new.
Well, you